Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okuru. Lassa fever cases have already been reported in 10 Nigerian states, leaving more than 40 people dead in the past few weeks. One of the latest cases was in Lagos, Nigeria's biggest city. The state has commenced sensitization on Lassa fever. Authorities are urging people not to panic and remain calm.
Markets in Lagos are usually infested with rats, so when the very first case of Lassa fever was reported in the city last week, local authorities decided to send sanitary officers to major markets on what you could call a rat-fighting mission. The targeted markets were shut down and traders asked to leave so sanitary officers could place poisonous baits at strategic areas in the markets to kill the rats. The sanitary officers say they would come back the next day to mop up and safely remove the dead rats. State authorities are asking residents not to panic over the reported case of Lassa fever in the city. They say people should just keep their environments clean and observe basic hygiene.
The mainland hospital and all other general hospitals have been placed on high alert. The antiviral drugs ribavirin for the management of cases are available. Ambulances have been dedicated to respond to referrals and transportation of cases. The airing of jingles on Lassa fever are ongoing on electronic media. We have reactivated the isolation wards in Lassuth and 26 general hospitals in Lagos State for isolation of any suspected cases. We have provided PPEs, personal protective equipment, in all our 26 general hospitals for use by the health workers, with 6,750 PPE reserved at the mainland hospital in Yaba. The disease surveillance and notification officers, the DSNOs in all the local government areas in the state, have been sensitized on Lassa fever to enhance early detection and prompt reporting of cases.
Meanwhile, authorities say the individual who came down with Lassa fever in the state is now in a stable condition and responding positively to treatment. Health officials are now monitoring about 40 persons, both patients and medical workers, at the hospital where the individual was first treated for any symptom of the virus. They're also trying to track down a total of 109 persons who may have had contact with this index case in Lagos. Deji Badimosi, TV360, Lagos, Nigeria.
4 worshippers were killed in a suicide bombing at a mosque in northern Cameroon on Monday. Security operatives in the country confirmed the attack. So far, no group has officially claimed responsibility for that attack. The attack is suspected to be carried out by Boko Haram members. The blast comes 5 days after a similar attack left 12 people dead. This is the latest attack in an area beset by violence linked to Nigeria's Boko Haram. Cameroonian troops form part of an 8,700-strong regional force created to defeat Boko Haram, the militant group which has stepped up attacks outside Nigeria over the past year, threatening regional security. The Nigerian military has confirmed that multiple attacks were carried out on oil installations in the Niger Delta area. Commander of the Joint Task Force, Alani Okunola, who confirmed the attacks, also threatened that community leaders would henceforth be held responsible for any attack on the country's oil and gas facilities in their domain. Militants believed to be loyal to embattled former Niger Delta warlord Government Ekwemopolo, also known as Tampolo, reportedly attacked multiple oil facilities in protest against a court directive which called for Tampolo's arrest. He's been prosecuted by the anti-corruption agency EFCC for fraud, although he has refused to appear before the commission. The federal government has appealed to the media to join hands in sensitizing Nigerians on the damage that corruption has done to the nation, warning that unless Nigeria kills corruption, the vice is capable of killing Nigeria. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, made the appeal on Monday while kick-starting the national sensitization campaign against corruption at a press conference in Abuja. Mohammed stressed the need to change the narrative on corruption, especially what he described as a wrong impression that the war against corruption is being fought only by the president or the federal government or the governing All Progressives Congress. In his words, the war against corruption is not a vendetta against the opposition and is indeed not one-sided. The national officers of Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP), has called for the resignation of the acting national chairman Uche Secondus, its national publicity secretary Olisa Metu. They also called for the resignation of a board member, Haliru Mohammed. This was contained in a statement issued on Monday by the Deputy National Youth Leader, Dennis Alongeniyi, the Deputy National Legal Advisor, Bashir Maidugu, the Deputy National Organizing Secretary, Oke Nnadozie, and the Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Abdullahi Jallo. Both Metu and Mohammed have been indicted by the EFCC and are currently under trial for allegedly receiving some of the money meant for procurement of arms from the former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki. Meanwhile, Secondus was last month sacked from his post as the party's acting national chairman by a federal high court in Abuja. Nigeria's federal government says it has no plan to pay 5,000 naira to unemployed citizens just to be, quote, indolent and unproductive. Minister of Labour and Employment, Christian Gige, who disclosed this in an interview with newsmen at the APC Secretariat, said the country cannot afford to pay stipend to citizens to be idle. The minister said such payments would be made as allowances to those undergoing different skill acquisition programs. Ngige, however, explained that while some people will be paid 5,000 naira under the cash conversion scheme, some will also get 10,000 naira, while others may get more than 15,000 naira while in training. President Muhammadu Buhari is currently at the United Arab Emirates on a 3-day official visit, where he attended the World Future Energy Summit as a special guest of honor. In his address at the summit, Buhari called for greater global cooperation against the devastating effects of climate change to avert disaster for the human race in the 21st century. He reaffirmed Nigeria's readiness to work with the UAE and the rest of the world in a collective effort to mitigate the effects of climate change. During his visit, Buhari would also lead a team of his ministers to bilateral talks with the government of the UAE, after which a number of agreements between both countries on economic, trade and bilateral relations are expected to be signed. He's expected to return to Nigeria on Tuesday. In a bid to ensure efficient distribution and country-wide penetration of petroleum products, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has commenced plans to expand its retail outlets across the country. Under the expansion plan, NNPC is seeking to expand the market share of its retail business to an appreciable level from the current 12% by building a mega station in every senatorial district in the country in the months ahead. Speaking during the flag-off of consultation during the week, Group Executive Director Commercial and Investment Babatunde Adeniran, who led the NNPC delegation to different states to solicit for the support. Among the states visited were Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa states. The Islamic Movement of Nigeria has said that it would only appear before the Judicial Commission of Inquiry set up by the Kaduna State government if its leader, Ibrahim Zakzaki, is released from detention. Governor Nasir El-Rufai had on Saturday announced the formation of 12-member Judicial Commission of Inquiry under the leadership of Justice Mohammed Garba to investigate the circumstances that led to the deadly clash between the Shiite members and the Nigerian army last month. However, in a statement on Sunday by its spokesperson, Ibrahim Musa, the group said it would only appear before the commission if Zakzaki is released unconditionally. The Islamic movement claimed that over 500 of their members were killed by the soldiers in that clash, which occurred in Zaria, Kaduna State. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) to transfer relief items in various custom warehouses to designated officials for onward distribution to internally displaced persons. This was disclosed by the service public relations officer Wale Adeni, who said that the Comptroller General has set up a national committee that would coordinate and manage the movement and the transfer of seized relief items to give effect to the President's directive. He said the relief items currently in government warehouses for distribution to the IDPs included goods that had been forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed Mariam Uwais, the wife of the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmudu Uwais, as his special advisor for Social Protection Plan. Wise has been deployed to the office of the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, where she is coordinating the administration's social protection schemes, including a 60 billion naira microcredit scheme for artisans and market women. She's a respected lawyer with over 30 years experience, including serving as a principal partner at Wale Wise & Co., an Abuja-based law firm. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll look at business and international stories. Stay tuned.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, funny white man, funny white man, but this way you talk, it's too much. Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, when she move along the street, yeah, me should like that, I'm going girl. You know, my own people, actually. Yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it. And I'm one of those very few.
I'm forever taking it personal. I will listen 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? My brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business. I know the pitfalls, I know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we train them. We do the way you do.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. You're watching TV360 News now. The National Bureau of Statistics has said Nigeria's consumer price inflation stood at 9.6% year-on in December, up 0.2 percentage points from November. According to the NBS, this is still above the central bank's target upper limit of 9%. The rate of inflation has now risen for a second consecutive month after slowing in October for the first time since November 2014. Last week, the naira depreciated further to a 43-year low at 305 naira per dollar as scarcity of dollars intensified in the unofficial market. This came after the central bank's decision to curb dollar supply. Commercial banks in Nigeria told customers on Sunday that they would allow deposits of foreign currency to be transferred abroad from their accounts. This comes just days after the central bank announced it was easing restrictions on foreign cash deposits. The CBN last week announced that it will now allow commercial banks to accept cash deposits of foreign currency, reversing the restriction imposed last year when such deposits were banned to curb speculation. Its policy shift came days after International Monetary Fund head Christine Lagarde told Nigerian lawmakers that the IMF did not support foreign exchange restrictions. Oil prices hit their lowest since 2003 on Monday as the market braced for additional Iranian exports after the lifting of sanctions against the country over the weekend. Brent crude was down $27.67 a barrel early on Monday, its lowest since 2003, while U.S. crude was down 38 cents at $29.04 a barrel. The United States and European Union on Saturday revoked sanctions that had cut Iran's oil exports by about 2 million barrels per day since their pre-sanctions 2011 peak to little more than 1 million barrels per day. Iran, a member of OPEC, said on Sunday that it is ready to increase exports by 500,000 barrels per day. Burkina Faso and Mali have agreed to work together to counter the growing threat of Islamic militants in West Africa by sharing intelligence and conducting joint security patrols following two deadly and well-coordinated attacks in the region. Their prime ministers met on Sunday, 2 days after Al-Qaeda militants seized the Splendid Hotel in Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, opened fire on a restaurant and attacked another hotel nearby, killing at least 28 people from at least 7 countries and wounding 50 other people. The exact details of the cooperation between Burkina Faso and Mali were not immediately clear, but the patrols and intelligence sharing mark an intent by the two countries to prevent the spread of militancy in the region. Candidates for the Democratic race for the White House have clashed on gun control and healthcare in their liveliest TV debates so far. Hillary Clinton attacked Bernie Sanders' record on gun control and said his health care plan risked derailing recent legislation, while Sanders accused Clinton of being in the pocket of financial institutions responsible for the 2008 crisis. This was the final Democratic debate before committees in Iowa on February 1st show who their state's voters prefer as their candidates. Polls indicate Clinton and Sanders are neck and neck ahead of the caucus in Iowa, where voters will decide who they want as their preferred presidential candidate. Moving on to sports now, Super Eagles coach Sunday Oliseh has expressed his confidence about his team's ability to win their first ever African Cup of Nations championship. The Eagles have been drawn in Group C alongside Tunisia, Niger and Guinea, and will begin their tournament with a game against Niger on Monday in Kigali. The NFF has already warned Oliseh about the importance of the tournament to Nigeria's position on the FIFA World Ranking. The 40-year-old has said he's confident that his team is strong enough to conquer Africa. The team reached the competition for the second time, having dismissed Burkina Faso 2-0 on aggregate in their last round of qualifiers. Tennis authorities rejected reports by the BBC and online BuzzFeed News, which says 16 players who have been ranked in the top 50 have been reportedly flagged to the Tennis Integrity Unit over suspicions they had through matches in the past decade. World tennis was rocked on Monday by allegations that the Games authorities have failed to deal with widespread match fixing, just as the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam tournament of the year, kicked off in Melbourne. The media reports, which follow corruption scandals in world soccer and athletics, created a stir at the event at Melbourne Park, with players expressing surprise at the allegations. However, in a statement on Monday, the ATP have completely rejected those claims, but insist they will carry out an investigation into the allegations. Well, we've come to the end of news now. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Thelma Okoro.